Welcome back, everybody, to Daddy's Game Time. I'm Leo, and today I'm gonna be reviewing Batman v Superman. It's new in theaters, and I just went to see it, and I just have to say I had to make this review. I am so excited to where this franchise is potentially headed to. Of course, I'll say it right off the bat. It's not a great movie, but by any means, but it is a good movie, and I'll be explaining why I do believe this movie has a lot of potential. It did a lot of things right, it did some things wrong, and I'll be discussing that right now while I'll be playing Arkham Knight. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, Batman Arkham Knight is a great game. I do believe it's not the best Batman game ever, but I still think it's a great game. I really enjoy all the little details that they've taken with it and some of the liberties that they've taken with it as well. It's kind of similar to what they did with Batman v Superman. So it's a good kind of a connection there with these both of these games, or with the movie and the game. So let's begin with the review. And excuse me here if I get a little distracted while I'm trying to go ahead and talk about that. But first and foremost, I just have to say I saw some other reviews before going to see the movie. The movie was getting about 6 or 7 out of 10. I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10 if I had to rate it on a number scale. However, this is so much more than just a regular film where you have to judge it on its own merits. It almost felt like an origin film at its core, where it was gonna give you somewhat of a standalone storyline, but it felt more than anything like it was just one big setup, and I was fine with that. I'm willing to go that route because this is the first time Warner Brothers has done this with any of their superhero franchises, where they're just kind of like uniting some of the heroes, and they're just in a way trying to create something that they have never done before. Of course, the film franchise that it's gonna immediately garner some comparison to is the Avengers, which it's, I would say, fair to say, to do so. However, um, it's a different kind of monster, you know. The Avengers, I do believe, took a long time to get to where they're at, and they truly earned it. Warner Brothers has been reluctant to kind of head on over the same direction, so they're kind of playing a little bit of a catch-up type of game. However, I'll try to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible. If I do happen to have a spoiler of some sort, it's probably nothing you haven't already seen in the previews. So here we go. First and foremost, the cinematography in the movie was very unbalanced. There were moments where I was just, my jaw was dropping to the ground, like in the beginning sequence with Bruce Wayne and his parents, shown how everything happened, how they perished, and all that. That was masterful. The way it was kind of retold, but without spending too much time on Batman's origin story. I thought that was wonderful because, let's face it, we've had plenty of Batman movies. We had plenty of origin storytelling done already, and I just really didn't have the energy to see that again. And to be honest with you, this was probably one of the better ones I've seen. It borrowed a lot from the Tim Burton 1989 Batman film. So I really love that. It was kind of I guess you could say maybe a Easter egg, perhaps, but more of a love letter to the fan of the original, or I shouldn't say original film, but the first film that kind of brought Batman and comic book hero movies back to the limelight, back to the spotlight in Hollywood. And I do believe that was Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, starring Michael Keaton, and that was just a wonderful movie for its time. As the years have gone by, many of the elements in that movie have started to age a little bit, and of course, it just when something starts showing its age for the era, it usually means it's just not as good as what it used to be. However, let's go back to Batman versus Superman. Of course, I'm talking a lot about Batman. Full disclaimer here: I am a Batman fan. That's my superhero per se. So let's talk Superman for a little bit, because Superman has a great role in this film as well, and I just really enjoyed most of what I saw from Cavill's performance in this film. Of course, Superman is one of those characters that's kind of probably difficult for an actor to do, because he usually doesn't have very much to play with, I guess you could say. Um, he's just a straight up like good guy, and in this film they try to show a little bit of a darker side to Superman, and I thought that was kind of interesting the way they played with it. However, at times it did seem to be a little too out of character, um, where it just seemed like he was trying to be bad. Well, he wasn't trying to be bad, but it just seemed like he was almost giving up his role that he's so accustomed to playing as a type of protector of humanity, because humanity adopted him. However, some love him, some don't love him, some hate him actually, and so there's a big conflict there. And I think he did a pretty good job with what was going on in some of those themes that were experimented with in the storytelling of the film. Um, uh, Now, we talked about Cavill. What about the Batfleck? What about Ben Affleck as Batman? First and foremost, I have to say, oh my goodness, this was probably the best part of the whole film. Affleck as Batman, he by far uh, has had the best Bruce Wayne that any Batman film has ever had. He is just so perfect for the role of Bruce Wayne. It's almost like he's playing himself at times, um, when we're talking about him as Bruce Wayne. So it was just really, really nice. A breath of fresh air, you could say, to see somebody not having to pretend he's this super rich playboy type of character. He just kind of owns it, and he's just perfect for that part of the role. And so that's very enjoyable to see. And I really enjoyed Affleck's Bruce Wayne. Uh-oh, I'm dying here. Run, Batman, run. Forgot how to play this game. It's been so long. Ooh, I got shot. Oh well. Anyway, back to Affleck as Batman. Affleck as Bruce Wayne. So that I give an A plus plus. I thought it was excellent. I'm trying to think of an example of something that happened in the film that I can tell you without spoiling anything. Um, I guess I'll just be very general here. He has the he's an older Bruce Wayne. He does have Alfred with him at all times. Well, not at all times, not with him, but always in his ear through his earpiece that he listens in on. And Alfred's always trying to just kind of advise him and protect him and tell him how to stay safe, and always letting him Alfred's letting himself be known that he hopes that one day Bruce Wayne will settle down and he'll be safe and give up this life of a Dark Knight, masked vigilante. And so that's that. However, now Affleck as Batman, ooh, I'm not so sure. I have to say that Batman didn't really seem like Batman in this film because he was so unbalanced with the powers of some of the other characters in it. I'm talking about Superman. Of course, Superman has almost godlike powers. As many of you know through the previews, Wonder Woman is in this film. Doomsday is in this film. So all of these are characters with almost godlike powers, whereas Batman is just a man in a mask with a lot of high tech armor and devices, and he has his intelligence to rely upon. And so that plays out pretty nice. You do get that scene where Batman is fighting Superman, and that scene so I'm not, without ruining it, Batman does something to kind of level out the playing field, to even things up a little bit. However, it seems like he wasn't, almost like Batman wasn't allowed to be Batman because he had to kind of compensate so much for his lack of superpowers. And it wasn't just this scene. There were a few other scenes throughout the movie as well. However, there was one scene in the third act of the film where Batman has to go rescue somebody, and Batman is finally being Batman, and you could see Affleck's Batman in full effect, and he's just taking names and kicking some bottom side, and it's just wonderful to watch. I loved the scenes. I loved what was done in them. The type of action is actually kind of akin to these video games that you see. Just quick, fast, to the point. It's ruthless. You see Batman more of like not so much being a hero like he has in other films, and he's just more being just like take no names type of guy, and I love that. They kind of took it a little bit more to a darker, not, well, maybe darker is a word, probably to a different level where he just doesn't care so much about not hurting anybody, because he does mention, hey, they're all bad guys, and so he's just a little bit less careful about the way he takes them down. He does use plenty of weapons. However, when he uses lethal weapons, he doesn't use them in a matter which they're gonna be lethal. I know Batman doesn't use guns to kill people, no. So for the most part, that reigns true in this film. But you do see some of the excuse me, I'm losing my concentration here. You do see him using the weapons to kind of hurt people or detain people, render them harmless, I guess you could say. But I think there's a few scenes where you could pretty much assume that, hey, that person's dead because of what Batman did using his Batmobile. So it's, yeah, they took their liberties with this film. They took it to some dark places. They kind of broke a few of the comic book rules, I guess you could say. And you know what? I'm perfectly fine with it. I wanna see something a little different sometimes, and this movie kind of gave me a little bit of that. So I think a lot of people knocked some of it because of what was because of what was done to the character. And oh, I'm in a jam here. So yeah, they took a lot of liberties with the licenses of Batman and Superman in this particular film, um, and they some of the storytelling could have been paced a lot better, and some of the CG in the film just looked like it was way outdated. The Doomsday character seemed uninspired. It seemed very generic almost. It brought back memories of the Hulk. I think it was the last Hulk film where the bad guy just seemed like he was very a very large, very muscle-bound character with a lot of spiky. I don't know if they were stones or bones kind of coming out of his body, and this was kind of like that. So it just, I don't know. I wish it could have been something a little more inspired, um, but I guess it is what it is. As far as the bad guys go, Lex Luthor didn't really feel like Lex Luthor. He actually reminded me a lot of the Riddler, and perhaps the Riddler combined a little bit with a Steve Jobs type of uh, character, where it was just very eccentric, very sarcastic, and it just kind of went off the rails with what we've all come to know as Lex Luthor being. Lex Luthor obviously is like one of those very, very high IQ bad guys, or villains, I should say, with that's always in control of his emotions, always has a backup plan, always has a backup plan to the backup plan. He's usually always cool, calm, and collected, and that's what kind of makes him a little bit intimidating, because even though characters like Superman have all this power and all these abilities, he seems to be almost one step ahead of them at all times. So in this film, he just seems very psychopathic, very eccentric, very off the rails. Much of it just didn't make too much sense to who the character is. They might as well just have made him be a different character altogether. So that's a knock on the film. However, I have to say, to talk more about the positives, just the Batman character was great, even though at times he was kind of not himself in some of the sequences because of the other superheroes and villains that he had to fight off. Um, so you had a lot of that going on. Um, the film, I think, did a lot of things right when it came to mood and action. The action I thought was excellent because it felt fresh. It felt like it was something we hadn't seen before, really, in some ways, and in other ways it felt familiar. So it was just really good. Humor wise, it didn't really have too much humor. It had a few lines in there, but it was overall just a very kind of serious. Let's get the bad guys. This is dire situation type of film, and I wish I could spoil it more for you right now, but this is a non-spoiler review of the film. Um, it feels like it's a big setup for something bigger that's to come, and of course, we all know that the Justice League movie is on the way, and this felt like almost like an origin story to a bigger fish that they're frying. I think that's all I have to say for now for the film. I'm not sure yet if I'll be doing a spoiler review with more detailed impressions of what I thought about the film. So I'll be signing off right now. Just last few thoughts that I just want to leave you with. This movie was so hyped up that it almost had impossible expectations to live up to, and it's showing up in a lot of the reviews. I had high expectations for the film, but as always, I try to temper them. And so when I went to see this film, I was very satisfied with it. No, it's not a great movie. It's not a Dark Knight Rises. That's, in my opinion, considered the masterpiece of comic book films brought to the silver screen. And this is, I don't think, even close to that in many respects. However, the action is great. Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne is excellent. Batman, when he was allowed to be Batman, was great on the screen. I just hope that they have a standalone Batman film in the works with Ben Affleck at some point. That would be just fantastic. And as far as Superman goes, it looks like he's gonna be elevated along with all these new characters. These newer superheroes are coming up, and bad guys or villains that seem to be coming up. So that's very interesting. Superman's future as well. Uh, so we'll see. Kind of people watching the review are probably like wondering what's going on. Well, you'll know later on if you do want me to do a spoiler review. Please let me know in the comments. Please go ahead and subscribe to our channel and just keep me informed. What do you want to see from Daddy's Game Time? I know Rick and Francisco are also cooking something up, and so you'll be seeing a lot from us in the upcoming days as well. So I just want to let you know, hey, thanks for watching Daddy's Game Time, and if you want to be the first to see our newest videos, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at keyword Daddy's Game Time, or just visit our website at daddysgametime.com. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Leo, and remember, enjoy your games and love your families.